Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to another episode of Cage Talk. Today, I have a female fighter who just got out of a victory in Bellator 250 night, beating Valerie Loureda. We have Hannah, the Hurricane Guy. How you doing today, ma'am?
I'm doing great. Trying to stay cool. This Mississippi.
Mississippi. Again, I appreciate you coming on and stuff like that. And yeah, I do have an empty. I'm waiting for a frame to come in. That's why I just noticed that. That looks pretty shitty right now on my end, but tried to ignore that big gap on my wall. But again, excellent. We'll talk about your fight, last week and stuff like that. But coming into the fight game again, you're pretty new and stuff like that. And to be honest with you, I didn't know too much about you when they did an announcement, which isn't bad. I mean, there's a lot of fucking fighters. And the good thing was, like, I usually do some research when I interview fighters, but I was like, you know what? Let me go into this kind of blindsided and just kind of learn from you as we go on through this interview. I think that was the kind of the best thing to do and stuff like that. And again, some people know about you, some people don't. I mean, now you're probably more popular because you beat a ranked opponent in Bellator, which is number 8. And again, we'll talk about that fight later. But in your aspect, in your opinion, where did MMA start for you? What age? What was your first practice? What kind of drew you into MMA?
Yeah, so I was probably 20 when I first was introduced to it, because I didn't even know MMA was a thing. In all honesty. Growing up, I only heard of karate and taekwondo, and I thought that looked really silly. No offense if you did karate or taekwondo. I just all my life, I just didn't really think of that as a self-defense thing. I thought of it more like a hobby, whatever. And so when I found out about MMA is when I immediately pretty much started training. So I was dating a guy at the time who was really into it, and he was watching The Ultimate Fighter, and it was the Misha Tate versus Ronda Rousey. There we go. Lister. Season, and I thought it was just super cool. They seem super badass. They can kick a dude's ass, if they needed to. And then, it showed them, the reality TV part, I just ate up. But so the, training, it showed them, just training and practice and whatever. And the fights itself all looked super, super cool to me. And I didn't actually, so I started training probably after I watched that, probably 2 weeks later. And then, fell in love immediately, was obsessed with it. Have been since then. Some days I don't want to do striking. I don't always like to get punched in the face. You can probably tell.
I mean, I'll give you that. You took a punch. I'll give you that one. I mean, you got clocked, but you took a punch. I'll give you that.
But it has grown a lot. I've just always been a little bit better at jiu-jitsu anyways, but I've never really taken time off since then. So it's been about 5 years. So I'm relatively new to martial arts in general. And then, I started doing MMA, Muay Thai, and jiu-jitsu. Those were what I started doing because that's what was offered. And it's still what I do, plus wrestling now. But yeah, that's kind of how I got into it. And so, yeah, just been kind of and I didn't get into it because I wanted to compete necessarily. I kind of wanted to learn how to be a badass, honestly.
Okay.
I just wanted to defend myself and, develop that kind of confidence internally. And then kind of have my own thing apart from my friend group that I always did everything with. So I kind of wanted my own thing, I guess.
I got you. So you never thought of this as a career technically? Did you have you have a side job? Do you have a part-time at right now, or a full-time
right
job?
Now, at my gym. I have been working at my gym for a long time.
Okay.
In the past, I was full time, and then I kind of went through this like stuff in my life. I think like a quarter life crisis because I was 25.
Yeah.
Um,
I don't know if that's called midlife yet. Just not
I don't
yet.
know. I know a lot of people who went through it, honestly, but
Mhm.
I just went through some stuff, and then kind of took some time away from working at my gym, and then I recently started back working here. You know, now I'm part time, but it gives me like more time to train in a way. But either way, even when I was full time, I've always had plenty of like time to train, so that's been really nice. When I first started training, I was working at a daycare, and I was still going to college, and so I transitioned into that after a while.
Gotcha.
So.
What was your major in college, or if you're still in it? I don't know.
No, I had a different major every year. And then the last thing I did was nursing school.
Okay.
Hated that. And then I just did like an online semester. I was thinking about doing nutrition,
Mm-hmm.
and I was terrible at chemistry.
Okay. Yeah.
And I was like, well, like if I can make a career out of like working at the gym here, like that's what I'm loving doing. You know,
Mm-hmm.
it's what I'm passionate about. So I might as well just do that. So I dropped out, and I've been doing, you know, teaching people jiu-jitsu and training, you know, MMA, jiu-jitsu, all that good stuff, fighting.
Nice. No, I
So
mean, I think that everyone goes through that, especially when you're younger and shit. Like I know I went through where I went to film school because I thought I was gonna be a director, and then like halfway through, I'm like, well, this shit's like a hobby. Like I'm not gonna make any money. Like to become like a famous like director, it's like impossible. So I left that, and then I went to journalism because I like writing. After journalism, I'm like, yeah. My mom talked me into like, she's like, why don't you be a dental hygienist? That's like really good. And I'm like, yeah, sure, why not? They make good money. And then the chemistry part hit, and I was like, fuck this. This is too much like too much science for me. I bounced out
yeah,
of that, and then I did the police academy. So I was again, I think that's like a part of just like college and growing up is just not knowing where your balance is and you're just going everywhere.
yeah.
I was a
Because
hobby.
honestly, like it was a waste of money because like I didn't know what I was doing the whole time. I didn't
Yeah,
make any like connections that are helping me now. So I mean, I did meet a lot of people along the way, but like usually you try to get those connections for like a future job, but I'm not
yeah, definitely.
any of that. So
It happens though. I mean, you live and learn, right?
yeah.
Were you born and raised in Mississippi or no?
Um born and raised like near the city I'm in now.
Mississippi, you were born. Go ahead.
Yeah, so I was born in Alabama in a town like an hour from where I am now. So pretty much born and raised from around here, I guess. But I did move in with my dad when I was little, when I was about 8, and then moved back probably 15 or so,
Hmm.
16. And so I've been here ever since then, really.
Alabama has some nice beaches. I know this is kind of random. I'm throwing this out there, but
Hmm.
I think it's called Orange Park. It might no. What's it
Orange
called?
Beach,
Yeah, that's
nice.
it. Yeah. It's really, really nice because a lot of people go from, especially in Dallas, they go like their summer spot is Destin, Florida. Again, I'm from originally from Florida, so like I know all about Florida, but I'm like I never even heard of Destin, Florida. But every Texan right now from
Yeah.
July to God knows when is going to be in Destin, Florida. So, but then I looked it up.
Mhm.
My friend went to Alabama, that beach, and I was like, where was that at? She put it on Instagram, and she's like, oh, it's in. I'm like, Alabama has beaches like that? She's like, yeah. I'm like, shit. So
Yeah, that's very close to me too. It's about 5 hours, and it's probably my favorite beach, honestly.
yeah, that shit looks nice. I won't lie. I was like, damn, like the water was like crystal blue. I again, it's kind of being like naive. I was like, Alabama has beaches like that. Shit look like it looked like Miami Beach at one point. I was like, shit, I need to go over there.
Yeah,
But
all of it on the Gulf is
mhm.
pretty nice. Yeah.
All right, so going back to your career, um, what was your first amateur, not amateur fight? What was your first pro fight?
It was with SFC. Um,
Okay.
with my manager's like does I think that's his promotion or I don't know the ownership there, but he has a lot to do with it. Anyways,
All right.
that's who I debuted with as a pro against Jennifer Clausius. Clausius. I never know how to say her last name.
You beat her. It's fine.
Yeah. Yeah, I had my second pro fight is my first loss ever in MMA. And it was actually to like a teammate of Valerie Loreda's. So
Yeah, she her name is Kayla
Hurrah.
Racha. Yeah. I actually had her on the show. Yeah, she's actually American Top Team. She came from Philly and stuff like that, but
she's really
yeah, she is. She's a
good.
really good. She's a really good boxer too. She's
Yeah.
a tough girl. Was there any nerves, especially from your amateur fight, compared to something like this Bellator fight again? Something that they just called you up like, "Hey, opportunity is knocking on the door. Let's take it." How was your transition? Again, we'll talk obviously about your first fight, and then we'll move into the Bellator fight because I keep mentioning it. So
Yeah. So you're asking about my nerves, like in my first pro
yeah,
fight?
just in general, how were you
Okay.
feeling?
Yeah, I mean, every fight I feel like I have a little less nerves, honestly.
Okay.
With Bellator, um, as far as like that knockdown punch that got me, I don't know if that was just like the nerves or whatever, because that's like the first time that's happened to me. And
Okay.
I've fought like super way tougher people than her.
Mm-hmm.
Um, as far as like hands go, especially like I fought some really good tough boxers like Kayla and like some other people.
Mm-hmm.
Um, so I think even though I felt like my nerves were better, I think there was definitely some jitters there with like the big show lights and stuff like that. But yeah, I mean, ever since I turned pro, I've been besides Kayla, because I was nervous that whole fight camp. I had a lot of injuries. Mentally, my mental game wasn't right. So I was actually supposed to fight at the very beginning of the year. I told my manager, like, mentally, I just don't feel like I'm ready. Just because, I know how that fight went. And if I'm not mentally there, I'm just
Mm-hmm.
not going to put on a good performance. But for the most part, I will say, ever since I went pro, like the nerves get better and better every fight. Just more cage time, less nervous every time. And
Definitely.
in the day of the Bellator fight, like I was super nervous in the morning, and then it got better and better closer to the fight. So
Gotcha. And the weigh-ins, and I'm gonna be really honest. I thought when the weigh-ins happened, because sometimes you can kind of sort of assume and just body language and stuff. I thought you looked like you were just happy to be there. You didn't look, you didn't look too amped, but you didn't look.
yeah,
You looked more chill. I was like, oh shit, this might get ugly. But
yeah,
again,
I was very chill. Honestly, I was way more chill than I thought I would be.
I was
With like
like,
all,
damn, like girl was just like you were just like whatever. And I was like, okay. But again, I mean,
yeah,
I didn't know you as a fighter. I didn't look you up and stuff like that. But just body language, body
yeah,
language. How
especially
do you, what's up?
her attitude, like in
Yep.
the background, like the stuff y'all didn't see. Like we all sat in front of our opponents pretty much,
Oh,
which
really?
was a little intense, which is never intense for me. Like I always want to talk to my opponents, whatever, but they usually don't want to talk to me. So, but she, like, her body language is like, she was like here facing away from me and just like here,
She
like,
was doing it. She was doing it for the gram. She was doing it for the
and
gram.
right. And so it was kind of weird.
Mm-hmm.
And then like in the face off, like she was kind of like shaking and
Mm-hmm.
like looked super like angry. And that's just not me. Like I usually like laugh in my weigh-ins, but I was trying to be not
I
as
mean,
much that way.
it happens. I mean, again, every fighter's different. Every person's different. Everyone handles things differently. Some people tend to kind of buckle there. They say that when you see your fighter when the first time, that you can tell where the fight's gonna happen, or what's gonna happen in the fight and stuff like that. I tend to lean yes and no. It just again it depends on the fighter.
Yeah.
By any chance, when that fight when it started, you're in the locker room, you're ready to go and stuff like that. By any chance, did you get to meet? Oh my God, what's his name? Burt Watson. Did you meet Burt?
I don't know.
He's like the event planner. He's a black guy. He has glasses. He's always screaming,
Oh,
"We rolling!" He's always screaming like that. I know he was.
yeah, I met him. He was so hyped.
Yeah, Bert's the hype guy. Yeah, Bert is
Yeah.
awesome. Yeah, he worked a little bit in the UFC, and then I had him on the show and stuff like that. But yeah, he's all about that. I'm glad he started, working for Bellator now. I think he just started, but yeah, Bert's a cool guy. Knows a lot of
Yeah.
fighters and stuff like that. But like I was saying, sorry, I kind of get distracted. But as you were in the back, what was your game plan going in for fighting her? Was it just to take her on the ground to avoid the stand up, or just kind of mix it up?
No, because in reality, as far as like what we've seen, like in her tapes, like I have like better hands than her, but for some reason I have this like mental block where and I was doing all the footwork stuff that we went over, but I was still having trouble moving my head like we've been practicing, and we were trying to cut off the angle, which I did a good job of on the feet,
Mm-hmm.
and that's why she wasn't able to run as much as she does with all of her other opponents.
She did spin.
But just wasn't able to really like let my hands go like
Mhm.
mentally. So
Is it something like you kind of like cock back and it just doesn't happen like in the middle of the fight? Like you'll start using your jab and you
I
kind of
don't I
get
don't really know
stuck.
what it was. Like I was pawing my jabs. I wasn't
Mm-hmm.
really throwing anything. I think I just like mentally am scared of getting hit, but it's a fight. So I don't know. I think we're thinking about possibly taking some like boxing, kickboxing stuff to really get me more comfortable. And in all reality, I've only had 6 amateur fights. This is only my 4th pro fight. So I haven't been doing this very long. So I'm not trying to be too hard on myself.
No.
Um, but definitely we're trying to like figure that out right now, because as far as like, so the game plan was to cut off her angles,
Okay.
hit her hard, take her down, and eventually get it to the ground. But I wasn't necessarily in a rush to do that, but in the fight, because I wasn't letting my hands go, Jake, my coach, he was just like, just go, just shoot on her.
Just take her down. And again, there was a submission you threw. What was it? Armbar, right? Towards the end of the round.
Yeah, pretty much everyone. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, pretty much. I think she's wearing a sling now. I think she was wearing something. I think you.
A cat, a sling. Yeah.
Yeah, something like that.
Mm-hmm.
How close were you finishing, and which round did you feel like you almost had it done? Was it the first round? I think the first round.
Like the tightest at the end of the 3rd round. I was gonna finish it like that mounted triangle. The ref was telling her to defend herself, and that usually means he's gonna stop the fight. And she was able to escape out. So that was almost a stoppage. And then the end of the 3rd round, I had like under her arm underneath here, which is like, I don't know if you train or anything, but it's like a super tight arm bar if you have it like tucked like that.
Mm-hmm.
And I was falling back for it, and then he like was like, "Hey, stop!" So
Did you by any chance hear her cornerman? I know. I mean, probably not. I mean, her cornermen were.
I saw the videos.
You saw the videos.
Cool.
Now, what did you think about that? In my opinion, I think. I mean, people are like, "Oh, that's a little too harsh." This and that. I don't think so. I mean, if you're a cornerman, I think you have to be straight. Yeah. You have to be straight up with your fighter and stuff. You can't just be sugarcoating it. Be like, okay, just keep distance. You're doing great. Like, no, I think they did good. Well, in your opinion, what would you think when you saw the video?
I mean, I would have cried probably. My coach knows how to like talk to me with being real at the same time. So, I mean,
Every
apparently
fighter's different as well.
Yeah. So maybe that's just how she needs to be coached.
Mm-hmm.
But
she ignored. She ignored them.
It was brutal. He said your grounded game is atrocious. And I was like, damn.
He said avoid that, and then he said stop doing the spinning stuff, and she continued to do the spinning.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm all for the spinning stuff if it lands. if you set it up, but if you're just spinning and then
Yeah, but her coach was saying, don't do that, because I was taking her down with all the spinning stuff.
yep, yep.
And signals were working, and if she had done that, she may have had a better chance with me, but she was, yeah.
So let's talk about that punch, because um, how did it feel, and what was going through your mind?
I think it did. Maybe that's one of the reasons I wasn't letting my hands go anymore.
It could have
Like,
could have caught you off guard.
I was just in the back of my mind, like, nervous it would happen again. But I was fine, like, especially once my butt hit the floor. Like, I was like just either thinking about up kicks from there when she was like coming forward, or getting her in my guard where I wanted her to be. But then she knew that I was fine and backed away, which is probably what she should have done. So,
Well, the good thing is, I mean, it sucks that you got punched, but it's almost like a learning lesson too. Now you know, like, you could take a punch, and even when you fell, you can still. I mean, some people go into, like, fetal position. Some people freak out and they kind of
no,
make mistakes, So.
punch harder, honestly.
Oh yeah.
You
Okay.
know, like Gina Gooden. I don't know if you heard of her, but she's like a monster. Caleb punched super hard. So I've been punched a lot in my career.
There
And
you go.
honestly, least amount I was punched in that fight, and then the fight before that. Honestly, as a pro, I haven't been hit as hard or hurt as bad as amateur. Like, amateur was way more brutal so far. I know it'll like get tougher the more I go, but
Definitely.
just what's happened so far.
And for Bellator, how was that promotion? If you like to give us your insight, how did they think they treated you from the beginning? When you got there, to the weigh-ins, through fight day, and after the fight and stuff like that.
Yeah, they were super nice. They were crazy about the COVID stuff, but were very accommodating because of that stuff. But everyone was super nice to me. I know they kind of brought me in thinking I'd be like a stepping stone for Valerie.
Do you think that was the kind of the plan, was just to kind of bring you in?
Oh yeah, when we got moved to main card. Yeah, I think so.
Did you feel it? Like, was there like you can obviously, like, they were kind of pushing for her, or that was just your case? That's what you felt?
Yeah, for sure. Because if you look at their social media, every time they announced our fight, like, sometimes they wouldn't include my name, or just pictures of her all the time.
Well, they had that was the weird thing. Well, I agree with you. They had a picture of her, and then it says Loretta versus Guy, and I was like, okay, well, she's not fighting herself, so
yeah.
So that was weird. Then closer to the event, I think I did see. Then they added your picture and this and that, but I'm like, it was strange. It was strange though.
Yeah, but I mean, I get it. They're trying to like move her up, but they just kind of overlooked the fact that I had the skill to beat her. So,
yeah. Well, that's the thing. You can't overlook anyone, especially in MMA. I mean,
yeah,
in a fight, I mean, anything can happen. I don't care, and that's why I don't bet. A lot of people are like, "Oh, once you put money," I'm like, no, I don't do that. That's why it's not fun. I don't like losing money for no reason. It's fun to try to guess, but I'm not putting money on that shit, because you know what?
Yeah.
You never know. You never know.
Yeah, a lot of people said I won them a bunch of money. I was like, send me some of that.
Hell yeah, I was cheering. I mean, you didn't win me money. Oh, what's up, coach? Yeah, we'll leave now. Give me like 2 minutes, and she's all yours.
Okay.
So what's your next step? What are your future plans? What's happening?
Yeah, I want to fight before the end of the year. I possibly take like a kickboxing or a boxing match, or even a local MMA fight again, just to keep getting me more comfortable. Matt, he has a SFC show coming soon, like pretty soon. So I could like fight in there, just get more cage time, more experience, whatever. But I would like to fight any type of MMA fight before the end of the year for sure. So
gotcha. And you said your Bellator fight was kind of one fight contract, if they decided to call you back or to kind of extend it for a three fight contract or anything like that, would you be up for it?
Yeah, as long as, the money was right, their goals were aligned with mine, with kind of what I want to do right now. Because I'm
Okay.
going to be honest, I'm I'm not ready to fight like world beaters. So if they want to bring me in to fight like their top whatever, I mean, they did put me in the ranking, and I'm not trying to fight anyone in that ranking, to be honest.
There
Like
you
I feel
go.
like age time, a lot more experience before I fight world beaters, and I have a lot of holes in my game I still need to improve. So as long as their goals are aligned with that and the money's right, then I'm all about it. But
Well, all
yeah,
right. Well, again, I want to thank you so much for coming on, and hope to see you back in the cage, whether it's Bellator or wherever you go. So,
yeah.
all right.
All
Well,
right.
thank you so much, and you have a good day. All right.
Thank you. You too. Bye.